$900 doesn't equal 24 hours care because it's so intense to save these guys.
You can't see it, but it could make your dog dangerously sick. Parvo is a highly contagious virus spread through contact with pet poop and can be dangerous to pets. The treatment isn't simple. In cases like one locally rescued dog, it isn't cheap either, begging the question, just how much are you willing to spend on your furry friends? Valley News Team's Molly Casey has our story.
It's not normal for us on a weekend to spend $3,000 on a dog.
Enclosed in his own isolation room, Hobie the dog is battling against an invisible enemy, Parvo. The highly contagious virus left his previous owner unable to care for him, so Hobie was surrendered to a shelter.
They often call for Love of Dog Rescue when they have incredibly sick dogs that no one can continue to care for financially, so the option is euthanasia.
For Love of Dogs took Hobie in for emergency treatment, but that treatment costs more than some are able or willing to pay.
He was surrendered Saturday night, just that weekend, $2,000. Last night, $900.
And that's just the start.
A lot of the Parvo patients that we treat, 3-4 days are enough, and they're starting to come around. He's already at day 3, and he is still struggling quite a bit.
Dr. Amy Anderson said because Parvo is a virus, it can't be treated with antibiotics. It has to run its course, and that means supportive care like IV fluids and nutrients, all while keeping the infected animal separate from all other animals.
Sometimes we will end up with outbreaks in the environment because the virus stays around for a very, very long time.
The virus is completely preventable if a pet is properly vaccinated, a simple step to keep dogs and owners from paying the cost of Parvo. From West Fargo, Molly Casey, Valley News Live.
To learn more about Parvo and what to look out for to keep your pets safe, click on Valley News, this link at valleynewslive.com, and you'll also be able to find and donate to Hobie's Care Fund through For Love of Dogs. Coming up after weather as winter begins, the search for Olivia Lone Bear continues even months after her disappearance. Plus, even though we made it through last night's blizzard, some parts of our area could have dicey road conditions. Robert, how are they looking right now?
Yeah, road conditions will slowly improve. They're not going to improve very quickly until we get some warmer weather in here, and that won't happen for a few more days. Live look outside on the CorwinAuto.com Valley Skycam, part of the Storm Team Skycam network. It is mainly clear out there. In fact, the moon right there up into the corner, that continues to rise off towards the east. The roadways, most of the main roads in pretty good shape. Most of the areas, however, still some slick spots on some main roads, especially up in northern Minnesota. Secondary roads, lesser traveled roads, neighborhood streets. Still a lot of ice across the area. 16 degrees, feels more like 1. Winds out of the west and northwest at 15, also 16 over in Moorhead. Temperatures down to 9 in Langdon, 9 in Baudette, 12 in Bemidji, 12 in Wadena, also 12 down in the Wahpeton area. Winds remain on the breezy side. They're going to stay breezy tonight. Now, the winds staying up will keep temperatures from dropping off too much, but it's still going to create some very cold wind chills. Already seeing those wind chills well below 0 in a couple of locations. -10 in Langdon, also 10 below in Baudette, -5 in Bemidji, and -8 up in Thief River Falls. And we'll see these temperatures as temperatures drop. Wind chill temperatures will also drop, as those wind speeds will remain up overnight tonight. Not a whole lot of cloud cover out there. Most of it thickest off towards the west. Underneath the clouds that we do have, could still see a few flakes of snow in this area overnight tonight and into tomorrow. That may spread down to the south and west. This activity may see a few flurries in our far western counties as we head through the next several hours. Northern Plains, some steadier snows down in parts of North Dakota and South Dakota. Some snow showers and flurries making their way through the Iron Range and on into northern portions of Wisconsin. Across the national map, across the southwest, some snow and some rain. Winter storm warnings for parts of West Texas. Some of those areas may see 5, 6, even 7 inches of snow. And lake effect snow warnings that affect downwinds of Lake Erie and Ontario for tomorrow night into Thursday for the possibility of a foot or more of snow. Overnight tonight, bigger story is going to be the cold temperatures dipping down into the single digits and low teens. And again, that chance for a few flurries and snow showers across northern Minnesota. We'll see cloud cover spreading to the southwest. Wind chills by tomorrow morning. 10 to 20 below will be pretty common across much of the area. Those clouds continue to slide off towards the southwest, maybe a few flurries, but then we'll see decreasing clouds late in the day. Only going to top out in the teens in most areas, and by tomorrow evening, cooling down into the single digits across the north, low teens across the south. Here in Fargo, we'll start off with a very skinny 4 with some clouds around, maybe a few flurries as we head through the morning and lunchtime. Mid-teens for your lunchtime. By the end of the day, we'll continue with mid-teens. Picture of the day from yesterday, a snowy sunset west of Edgeley. Thanks to Virginia for sending that in. Going to use that as the backdrop to our 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, cold. That chance for a few snow showers, mainly early. Not as cold Thursday and Friday, with temperatures in the mid-20s. A few snow showers possible Friday, a few a.m. flakes Saturday. So you may have to dodge one or two of those tailgating before that 11 a.m. kickoff. Warm-ish on Sunday, but then right back into the deep freeze by Tuesday.
Nothing that a few bison hats or scarves won't warm you up if you're tailgating.
It's a hardy bunch. They'll get through it, no problem.
They sure will. Yeah. Thanks, Robert.
You got it.
And as mentioned, the blizzard has passed, but dangerous road conditions remain in parts of our valley. Ice-packed roads from Hillsboro and north of there have made driving there dicey. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says wet roads before the snow hit have led to ice pack. So they say the most important thing drivers can do is just to slow down, and when there is reduced visibility, turn their headlights on.
Obviously it's not very warm today, so the ice isn't going to be melting very fast, and the ice was really thick because the roads were wet and then snow packing on top, so it takes a while for that to break off.
If you want to check out an interactive map of road conditions, go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. The search continues for a North Dakota woman missing since the end of October. But as the weather worsens, Olivia Lone Bear's family says they need help. Some members of Lone Bear's tribe who are living in Fargo, they're collecting supplies for the search effort as winter conditions make it harder to do. Earlier reports say police suspect no foul play in Lone Bear's disappearance. However, a $10,000 reward is being offered for any information leading to her discovery. The supply drive to benefit the search is at the Red Raven in Fargo. It runs through this Friday. If you or someone you know has any information on where Olivia Lone Bear may be, you can call the tribal police tip line at 701-627-6141. A statewide service allowing Minnesotans to send a text message to 911 during an emergency is now up and running. State officials say text to 911 will be especially beneficial for people who are deaf or unable to speak. It will allow victims who may not be able to talk while a crime is being committed a way to contact police. To use the service, a person would type 911 in the number field and then type the nature of the emergency and a location in the body of the text message. Dispatchers at all of the state's 104 emergency dispatch centers have been trained on the texting technology. It's a serious problem. Fargo-Cass Public Health says devices are turning up in schools that parents and teachers don't know are being used as e-cigarettes. They're becoming increasingly hard to identify. Fargo-Cass Public Health is now working with area school districts to keep up with these devices. But catching someone in the act at school, it can be hard to do. And identifying an e-cig can be even harder.
A device that actually plugs into your computer, it looks like a USB. You would never guess that it is an e-cigarette, but that's exactly what it is.
And many teens are buying e-cigs online. Fargo-Cass Public Health says it's hard to know the health consequences that can arise from using an e-cigarette when studies are still being done. But since they do contain nicotine, they say that can be detrimental to your health. A study we found says teens who vape are 7 times more likely to use regular cigarettes. President Donald Trump is celebrating the progress of the Republican tax plan, which is making its way closer to his desk. He's bringing people who could benefit from the reform to the White House, one of them from our area. Washington correspondent Kelly Meyer has a story for us tonight from the White House.
Jessica Unruh is bringing her thoughts on tax reform to the White House.
It's an opportunity that not very many people get.
The North Dakota state senator had the chance to thank President Trump personally during a meeting with other families from across the country who say they'll benefit from the GOP tax plan.
Just simply the reduction of 35 to 20 for the corporate tax rate will have a far-reaching effect to all of our businesses.
The Senate passed their tax bill in the early morning hours Saturday. Members of Republican leadership say the reform will jumpstart the country's economy. White House Legislative Director Mark Short, who supported the Senate bill, says it will be a significant impact on middle-class families, not only in North Dakota, but across the U.S.
For a family earning roughly $70,000, will receive over $2,000 in tax relief. We think that middle-income families across this country will do very well under this plan.
Short tells us here at the White House there's a priority to get tax reform done soon. He still projects the Christmas deadline as President Trump continues to promise. But Democrats say there's still time to fight it.
What we really need to do is go back to the drawing board.
Democratic senators like Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow are pushing for a bipartisan solution to tax reform, encouraging other Republican members to stop this process and start over, with input from both sides of the aisle.
This is an example of how government should not be working.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Kelly Meyer, Valley News Live.
For now, the Senate is on the path towards conferencing both the House and the Senate versions of the bill. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the Senate should vote to join the conference later this week. The state of Minnesota is facing a nearly $200 million deficit. This is according to the projections from the state office. Reports show the shortage is based on a reduced U.S. economic growth forecast and impact of bills passed in 2017. The deficit is predicted to grow to close to $600 million in the next 3 years. However, those numbers could be impacted by the federal budget. This comes after a string of budget surpluses in recent years and nearly $700 million in tax breaks.
They are meant to be used in times of economic downturn. In other words, in my verbiage, today's forecast is more of a mist than a downpour.
Governor Dayton and Republican lawmakers are expected to resolve the budget problem. They are due back in St. Paul in February. Still ahead tonight, the first landmark case in this session of the Supreme Court is drawing a lot of attention.
The United States Supreme Court hears a case born in Colorado. I'm Peter Zampa in Washington. What both sides had to say in oral arguments in Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission.